Hello, BookTube. I went out for errands first thing this morning, bitterly cold morning. I went out to do as much as I could get done before what looks like a quick, fast moving, probably lightweight snow and sleet storm tomorrow. I want to be anywhere tomorrow. I want to be snug as a bug in a rug tomorrow. I don't want to be have to be going out anywhere. Uh, and when I got back, there was a pile of mail waiting for me, and I tore into it like a hungry Wolverine. And then I realized, oh wait, you're making BookTube videos again, and people like to see you open your mail. So I saved a few packages. A number of you have said, we'll take a look at the new books, even if we don't watch you open the package. But there's a magic involved in opening the packages, and here on the Steve Donahue Show, we're all about magic. So I have a couple of packages. I also have the New Yorker. Those of you who read my revived book blog, Steve Reads, over on Substack. Thanks to David Murphy who set it up on Substack. I now have a book blog on Steve Reads. Steve Reads is back. Will know that I recently renewed my subscription to the New Yorker. Mainly because 2025 is the 100-year anniversary of the magazine. And I didn't have any really overarching thing just to write about the New Yorker for the whole of the year. I don't know that I don't think the New Yorker will be publishing by the end of this decade. So I don't know that my subscription will extend to 2026. But I thought for a century of the New Yorker that has meant so much to me, I would write about every issue. So on Steve Reads last week, I wrote about last week's New Yorker issue. I ran down some of the highlights, some of the lowlights, I argued some bits of it. And oh my God, the response I got from that was amazing. And it reminded me that every time in my life, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, including the old Steve Reads blog on Blogspot, that every time I've ever done that, broken down this week's issue of the New Yorker, it has always received that kind of response. People love it when I do that. They're indifferent when I break down the new issue of the TLS or go over the highlights and lowlights of the newest issue of the London Review of Books. But when I do it for the New Yorker, people are ecstatic. I think probably because the New Yorker is notorious for being something that people subscribe to but don't get around to reading. There's a lot of reading in every issue, a lot less than there used to be, but still a lot of reading in every issue. And I think people feel a little guilty about that and like a knowledgeable tour through every issue. They're willing to trade that off with the fact that, of course, my tour will be different from your tour. I hadn't anticipated that. I don't know why, but I had forgotten the strength of the reaction that people have when I do that. So I will certainly do that. I will run down every issue of the New Yorker for the rest of the year. So I got the New Yorker. A glance at the table of contents leads me to think that the literary content here is not going to be all that pleasing to Steve. But you never know. The subject matters of the various literary columns don't seem all that interesting, but the pieces themselves could still be really good. So I will let you know. Those of you who do me the honor of subscribing over on Steve Reads, I will run things down for you there. But we have a couple of packages that we can look at here. So there's not a mail-free day. We don't want a mail-free day. What is this first one? Oh, right. Oh, okay. Ooh, did I see mathematical equations? Oh my God, I did. Oh my God. Algebraic geometry. Well, okay. Oh God. Okay. This is from the folks at the Belknap Press of Harvard University Press. This comes out in May. This is by Paul Lockhart, and it's called The Mending of Broken Bones, a Modern Guide to Classical Algebra. So some of you who have been watching this channel for a long time will know I have an extremely prickly relationship with math, and I prick myself because I routinely I throw myself into popular math books like this of all kinds. I do it at least 3 or 4 times every year, even though I know it's going to be like throwing a rock against a dam. It's not going to have any effect at all. I still do it in the hopes that one of these books will make sense to me. But let's see what we have here. For many of us, algebra conjures up memories of dull classes spent wondering when we'd ever have to solve a system of equations or factor a polynomial. Yeah. Also, why can't my dogs be with me? Why can't they be here? Indeed, most of the time, if we need to plan a budget or figure out how early to leave the house for work, common sense or a quick seat-of-the-pants approximation is good enough. All the time. Not most of the time. All the time. But as mathematician Paul Lockhart argues in this book, once we stop thinking of algebra in terms of its practical applications, we can appreciate it for the beautiful and gratifying subject that it is. They always say this. These books always say this. I mean, maybe this will be the one that does it. In his hands, algebra is the delicate craft of untangling numerical puzzles to reveal the hidden patterns and often surprising behaviors of the numbers themselves. As Lockhart traverses numerical systems, slips into and out of higher dimensional space, and delights in the intimate connections between algebra and geometry, we come to see the discipline from his viewpoint, not as the mundane exercises of our school years, but instead as an art form, whose beauty lies in its elegant simplicity. Okay, all right. Well, if you can do it, you will be the one who did it, and I will sing your praises forever. Certainly doesn't. It sounds like Paul Lockhart has a lot of enthusiasm. I ought to get him on the channel if he'll do it. Let's see if he can do it in person. So who is he? He's a research mathematician who has devoted his career to K-12 education. Oh, okay. So in addition to an author, he is a hero. Wonderful. Good to know. Okay, so this comes out as a hardcover in May. I will give it a K-12 is right about at my competence level. I will give it a try. I will give it a try and see if he can be the one to do it. Okay, so that is May. Now, ordinarily at this point, if I got a specialty book of some kind or other, I would at this point immediately be saying, if any of you out there indulge in the specialty, feel free to get in touch with me about trying your hand at reviewing the thing for Open Letters Review, but not with math books. I'm going to try it myself. The whole point of it is that I'm going to try it myself, so not in this case. So what is this next one? This one does have a pub sheet. It's good. Comes out at Bloomsbury Press. This comes out in July. I believe that's the latest book that I have. What have we got here? This is by Jennifer Desai. Desal? Desal. D-A-S-A-L. The Club, where American women artists found refuge in Belle Epoque, Paris. And there's a painting on the cover. That's a rather attractively designed cover, although it couldn't have been a dog on the street. It has to be one of Satan's minions instead. But that's a rather nice cover. So what have we got here? This is a vividly entertaining, never-before-told history of the American Girls Club, a residence for American women artists in Belle Epoque, Paris from 1893 to 1914. Paris, with its extraordinary cultural flourishing and political stability, served as the epicenter for modernity and a haven for artists and intellectuals from around the world. American women artists, unable to thrive or be taken seriously stateside, made the journey to Paris too. Opened in 1893, the club became their sanctuary, and over the next 2 decades was the center of expatriate living and singularly harbored a generation of independent, talented, and driven American women. In this book, art historian, curator, and host of the Art Curious podcast, Jennifer Desal, tells the stories of the women who lived there and who made it and the people who made it all possible. The women who lived at the club and the people who made it all possible were some of the people, men. let's not go there. Through the mix of rich historical detail, color, images, and fresh perspectives, this book explores how these women weren't just making art. They were changing the game, forging relationships that went far beyond the canvas. Well, that's good. That's very good. The club became more than a residence. It was a revolutionary place for creativity, activism, and empowerment, allowing women of ambition to grow as teachers, artists, and suffragists, forging connections with iconic figures like Auguste Rodin, Gertrude Stein, and Emmeline Pankhurst. I was wondering if Mrs. Pankhurst was going to be in here. For readers interested in women's lives, as captured in books like The Barbizon. Oh, The Barbizon was good. I wish I'd written about that. Art history buffs who love 9th Street women, and armchair travelers to visit Belle Epoque, Paris, the club is a captivating and colorful new history. Great. Fantastic. Okay, well, this doesn't come out until July. So both of these things are well down the line. Don't have to worry about either one of them for now. Both nonfiction. But don't have to worry about either one of them. And then something that's the furthest thing in the world from well down the line. I'll review this right away. I'll read it today and then write about it. I'd forgotten that. I'd forgotten how much people like that. I do that kind of thumbnail. Here's my impressions of the latest issue of, for a whole bunch of different things. Nobody seems to care about when I do it for National Geographic or the National Review or whatever. When I do it for the New Yorker, they love it. So I will. I will, absolutely. So anyway, that is it. That is a little sliver of the mail. We'll do better tomorrow. I hope we'll do better tomorrow. Although this storm that's coming, maybe the mail won't be delivered. I'm certainly not going to be out on the porch in my slippers and curlers, waving fists in the air, saying, "Why aren't you delivering it?" No way. All the mail people around here, UPS driver, the DHL driver, the UPS or the USPS, not only the guy on foot but the woman who drives the truck. I know them all. Frida knows them all. They all know Frida. I don't want any of them coming out in bad weather. So the mail can wait. So we'll see. But I will allow books to accumulate, and I will open them for you next time. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I will see you then. Thank you, BookTube.